Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you're watching this video lecture. In the earlier session related to the service costing, we discussed some of the key concepts in the service costing principles, like computation of equivalent cost unit and computation of composite cost unit. Application of those things in the transport sector, whether it is a passenger transport or goods transport, we have done. Now let us apply the principles of service costing into some more areas. But as I told already, we should not be thinking that the question will be only from transport sector or hospital or hotel or educational institution or whatever it is, airlines, power. Any sector the question might come. You should not be too much worried about the sector to which the question relates. We have to be just focusing on what is the requirement of the question and what is the data available in the question and how to convert the data that is given in the question into a proper answer with a good presentation. So if that is the open attitude, any question from any sector can be comfortably solved, and that should be the level to which we have to reach by the end of practicing this topic of service costing. So looking at one more aspect of hotels or lodging, wherever people stay. We are not talking restaurant particularly, we are talking about a hotel where people stay. So that's what can be called a motel in America, lodge in some places, whatever the name it is called. The point is, that is also a kind of hospitality sector, which is a very crucial and a big sector in the entire world. And understanding the various nuances about that, particularly from costing point of view, is a very important aspect. So a couple of questions are there related to that sector. Let us solve them. A company runs a holiday home, and for this purpose, it has hired a building at a rent of 10,000 rupees per month. That is a rent fixed naturally, along with 5% of total taking. Means there is a portion of rent which is fixed, also there is a portion of rent which is variable depending upon the total taking, means total revenue. It has 3 types of suites for its customers, namely single room, double room and triple rooms. So there are 100 single rooms and double rooms, triple rooms. Let us just take the number as given: 100, 50 and 30. These are the number of rooms which are there in that particular hotel or holiday home, whatever we call it, resort, whatever you call it. So that is the number of rooms, and occupancy percentage is 100% for single rooms, 80% for double rooms, 60% for triple rooms. Okay. Then the rent of double room suite is to be fixed at 2.5 times of the single room suite, and that of triple room suite is twice that of double room suite. So we have to find out the equivalent numbers then. So we can find out number of rooms also equivalent. If you take single rooms as a basis, that means equivalent number of single rooms is 100, and equivalent number of double rooms will be what? 2.5 times that of single room into 2.5, let us say. Equivalent number of triple rooms is what? Twice as that of double room. That means when we want to express it as a single room, everything uniformly, it will be 5 times of single room. So into 5. So this is 2.5 times of 50 and 5 times of 30. In other words, 100 single rooms are equivalent to 100 only. 50 double rooms are equivalent to not 50 double rooms. It is equivalent to 50 double rooms, but 125 single rooms equivalent 2.5 times. So 125 single rooms is equal to 50 double rooms. Same way, triple room is 5 times of single room. That means 30 triple room are there, but they are equivalent to 150 single rooms. So total single rooms, if at all we convert everything, it will be 375. That is the point given there. Other expenses for the year are given. All are just copy paste type of expenses, all of them will be naturally, we can say, in exam to be just written description and copied pasted. But now let us just take the amounts. 14,25,000, 4,50,000, whatever, 215, 123,500, 80,500, 74,000, 1,53,000, and there is a rent also which is fixed 10,000 per month, but these are all annual. So 10,000 per month means annually 1,20,000 fixed rent. Variable rent we don't know because we don't know how much is the revenue. Takings is nothing but revenue, sales, whatever we call it, gross receipts. Depending upon industries, different names may be used, but the meaning is important. So this variable rent is based on the revenue, which we don't know. We have to come to that later. But other fixed charges which are all known for the year are given. All of them we have taken. And then he's also telling that provide a profit at the rate of 20% on total taking and assume 360 days in a year. 360 days in a year. So when we calculate, what is required is rent to be charged for each type of suite we want. So rent will be charged per day, not for the entire year. So we need to first of all also find out room days then, because 100 rooms are there. 360 days means how many room days will be there of single room? They will be 36,000. Same way, 45,000 room days of double room will be there expressed as single room. Same way, 54,000. Total of that is 1,35,000, but that is also not to be taken directly. Why is that? Because occupancy is not 100% in all cases. So this is if 100% occupied, we just converted them. But actual occupancy will be how much? 36,000 into 100%, 45,000 into 80% only, and 54,000 into 60% only, which means actual number of room days in the year which will be occupied is only 1,04,400. That is what is number of room days, right? So 1,04,400 room days are there. How much should be the rent that is charged? That we don't know. Per room day, how much should be charged? That we don't know. But it should be how much? Definitely all the cost should be covered, which is 26,41,000. Cost should be anyway covered, plus 5% of revenue, plus 20% of the revenue as profit. That should be equal to 1,04,400 into revenue. Let us say revenue or room rent per day is X. Then what can we comfortably form an equation type is so 26,41,000 26,41,000 cost plus, let us say 0.05, whatever that revenue may be. Let us say that is revenue is R, which is what 5% of the revenue is supposed to be rent, no? That is 5% of total taking variable rent. So that is why 0.05 of revenue plus profit is supposed to be how much? 20%, means 0.2 R. That is equal to R. That means how much will be R? Once again, simply 0.25 R. If it goes to other side, it becomes 0.75 R. So 0.75 R is equal to 26,41,000, which means R will be equal to 26,41,000 divided by 0.75. That means the revenue is supposed to be 35,21,333. But how much should be the rent per day? How many room days are there? 1,04,400. So per day will be 34 rupees. And if we want in decimals, we can take it as 33.73 for a single room. That is for single room rent. But what about double room then? Naturally, it will be just 2.5 times of single room rent. Then what will be triple room? You can take 2 times of double room or 5 times of single room, as the case may be. So these are the finally room rates that are supposed to be fixed per day. That is the final answer. That's what is asked. 33.73, 84.32 or 33, 168.65. That's it. That is the final answer as asked in that particular question. Okay. So that is another one type of question related to hotels. Now moving to illustration 7, this is also a hotel type of question. A lodging home is being run in a small hill station with 100 single rooms. All rooms are single rooms only. The home offers concessional rates during 6 off-season months in a year. So in a year, 6 months are off-season, and it is a hill station. Normally, our common sense should tell, for a hill station, off-season will be what? Off-season will be usually the winter, because most of the people go to the hill stations during summer. In summer, hill stations will be very busy, and in peak winters, they might not be that busy. So, but still, we don't care. Ultimately, there are 6 seasonal months, seasonal and off-season. 2 types of categories are there. And 6 months is season and 6 months is off-season. During this period, which is off-season, half of the full room rent is charged. So half of the full room rent is charged. So normally during season, if there are 100 rooms, because half of that is only charged, actually the equivalent rooms during off season is only 50 equivalent rooms. Or on the other side, you can even take, if this is as 100, then this will be double of it. So either way it is okay. Let us take season. If it is 100 rooms, off season it is 50 rooms only equivalent. We have to understand the equivalent concept. It is not real, it is an imaginary thing. Though there are really 100 rooms physically, they are equivalent to 50 rooms only during off season, because only half of the room rent is charged. And the management's profit margin is targeted at 20% of the room rent. That is given. 20% of the room rent is the profit margin that is targeted. Okay. Following are the cost estimates and the other details for the year ending, whatever that it may be. And assume a month to be of 30 days, is saying. You don't have to worry about which month, how many days and all. Always any month is supposed to be taken as 30 days. Now, occupancy during the season is 80%. 80% that is. Then occupancy during the off season is only 40%. That is another data that is given. Total investment in the home is 200 lakhs, of which 80% relates to the building and balance to the furniture and equipment. Of course, that will be useful for depreciation calculation, which we can straight away do also. Let us say depreciation on building. How much will be that? 200 lakhs into 80%. And what is the depreciation rates? They are given later. Depreciation to be provided for buildings at the rate of 5%, furniture and equipment at the rate of 15% on straight line basis. So annual depreciation, that is. Let us take everything annual only. So annual depreciation 5% on buildings, 200 lakhs. So 200 lakhs, which is 2 crores. Okay. Into 80% of that is building, into 5% is the depreciation. So depreciation on building is 8 lakhs. What about depreciation on furniture, etc.? Then it is 15%. But on the same 2 crores, it is 20% related to furniture, 15% is a depreciation. So 6 lakhs is the depreciation. So one calculation we have done. Remaining things are all copy paste once again. Just whatever is given in the question, you just have to copy paste. Of course, in exam you have to write descriptions and all very well. Make sure the numbers are correct. 5,50,000, 2,61,000, 80,000, 1,75,000, 190, 800. These are the various expenses which are given, just copied pasted. Then room attendants are paid 10 rupees per room day on the basis of occupancy of the rooms in a month. And monthly lighting charges are also given 120 per room monthly, that is, except in 4 months in winter, which is during which season it is 30 rupees per month. So required to work out the room rent chargeable per day both during the season and off season months on the basis of the foregoing information. Anyway, we have all the cost details, but the point is, what about the room attendants salary? Room attendants are paid 10 rupees per room day on the basis of occupancy of the rooms in a month. We already have some kind of occupancy here, but equivalent rooms and all is different. That is only for the purpose of tariff calculation. Tariff calculation is different. Salary to the room boys is different. Room attendants is different. So let us take room attendants salary separately. Whether it is single room or whether it is season or off season, only the occupancy changes. So let us take the number of room days during the season. Number of room days during the season. 6 months season. Each month 30 days as given. 100 rooms are there. And 80% is the occupancy. So 14,400 is the number of room days during season. What about off season? Everything same. 6 months. Each month will be 30 days only. 100 rooms only. But occupancy is 40%, which means 7,200. That means the total number of room days, real room days, not equivalent room days, really, is 21,600. When 21,600 room days are occupied, 10 rupees per room day if you give to the room boys or attendants, the total salary of the attendants will be 2,16,000. And salary of 5,50,000 which was given earlier, already told, it is excluding the room attendant salary. So 2,16,000 is in addition to that, which we have calculated. That is one point to be noted. Another important calculation in this question is lighting charges. You can consider them as electricity charges of a particular room. Lighting and heating charges, electricity charges we can call. Maybe whatever the reason it may be, we don't care whether the rooms have air conditioner or not. Anyway, it is a hill station, or do they have heating, something like that. Oh, so many factors will be there really, but we don't have to worry about the realities all the times. Numbers matter. Monthly lighting charges are 120 per room. Monthly lighting charges are 120 per room. So this working notes was about attendance salary, and now what we are going to calculate is about lighting charges. Monthly lighting charges are 120 per room, except in the 4 months per room, that is, except in the 4 months in the winter when it is 30 rupees per room. So now the question comes, so 4 months winter, okay, but 4 months is falling in season or off season? That is where common sense has to prevail. For a hill station, winter will be off season. So we have to assume that the 4 months during which the monthly lighting charges are 30 rupees per room are during off season. Why? Because the occupancy during off season is different. So the computation of lighting charges, which is a separate working notes, we are doing it now. Let us take season first. In season, naturally there are 6 months, right? And 100 rooms are there. And 80% occupancy is only there, because lighting charges will be there only when the room is occupied. When the room is vacant, why the power will be on in that? Nothing will be there. So 6 months, 100 rooms, and per room 120 rupees. Each month 120 rupees. 100 rooms are there. Like that, 80% of the rooms are occupied. So simply speaking, during the season, the lighting charges are 57,600 rupees. What about off season? But off season has total 6 months. In that, 4 months the charges are 30 rupees. Naturally, remaining 2 months they will still continue to be 120 rupees, right? So here, 4 months, let us take, which is winter. 100 rooms to anyway there, but occupancy is only 40%. And for these 4 months, the charges are only 30 rupees. That is for 4 months of winter. What about other 2 months? Other 2 months, 100 rooms only there, but occupancy is still 40%. Still, it is off season, though it is winter or not winter, doesn't matter. Off season has total 6 months. In that 4 months is winter. Remaining 2 months we are looking at. Occupancy is still 40%, but that 2 months 120 continues. So that's all. That is a total of 72,000 is what the lighting charges, working notes, computation. That's all. All the costs which are required to be compiled, we have got it, and you have everything as costs. Then, if 1/5 is the profit on the room rent, 1/5 on sales means 1/4 on cost. So profit will be how much? 1/4 on cost. So this is the total cost. This is profit. Then naturally revenue should be how much? Cost plus profit. Now question comes about equivalent units, season and unseason or off season. So what about the equivalent units here, equivalent room days that can be calculated separately. Here 100 rooms are there during season, 6 months are like that, into 80% is only occupied, and each month has 30 days, right? So 14,400 because it is normal. But for the second thing, we should not take 100, rather we should take only 50. So 3,600 are the equivalent rooms of off season because it is half only. That means what are the equivalent number of room days in the year? That is 18,000. So take 18,000. Automatically you get room rent per day during season. We calculated seasonal, not off season. So room rent is season if this much. Off season will be half of that by 2. Simple. So if you want decimals, 204.5 final answer. 204.5 during season, 102.25 during off season. That is the final answer for this question. Like this, hotel related questions can be asked. Once again, for hotels particularly, the equivalent units, which is room days, is a crucial aspect which we applied in both the cases. In one case, different types of rooms themselves are there. In the second case, rooms are same, but tariff is different during season and off season. Like this, any type of question can be framed. We don't have to get into the business of hotels. We don't have to get into how the hospitals run, what happens in patient, outpatient, x-ray, etc., etc. We don't need any of that. Whatever data given in front of us, we have the common sense to just crack it and understand what is the cost that is going to be incurred. Now the next illustration 8 is about hospital. That is ABC Hospital runs a critical care unit in a hired building. CCU, whatever that critical care unit, consists of 35 beds and 5 more beds can be added if required. And other things are given: rent per month, supervisor salary, nurse, ward boys, doctors, etc. Other expenses are also given, but they are classified into fixed and variable. Earlier we thought we don't have to classify into fixed and variable if it is not required. But here, clearly the question itself classifies into fixed and variable. And lot of other expenses are also given, all of them to be just copied pasted. But what is requirement here? Look at that. Calculate profit per patient day if the hospital recovers on an average 2,000 rupees per day from each patient, and find out break-even point for the hospital. That is the question. Okay. Break-even point, if we want to find out, certainly the fixed cost should be known. So now we cannot say I will not classify. We should classify fixed cost also, and we should know contribution per unit also. And what is unit here? Patient day is a unit. Patient day you can call it. Per patient, per bed you can call it, because bed is charged per day. So like that, we need the classification of fixed and variable for sure. That is first point here. So while doing the copy paste exercise, we have to carefully classify them into fixed costs and variable costs as per the information that is given. So let us take one by one whatever it is given. Rent per month is 75,000. So naturally 75,000 into 12, that will be a fixed cost. Rent is fixed. Supervisor salary, nurse, ward boys, these are all fixed only. because salaries those are. So calculate supervisor's salary. 2 into 25,000 per month each. So 2 into 25,000 into 12. Same way. For nurses, 4 into 20,000 per month. 4 nurses, 20,000 per month it is. We want annual. So into 12. Then ward boys, 4 into 5,000 per month. 4 boys, 5,000 per month, like that 12 months. That is ward boys salary. Doctors are paid 2,50,000 per month, but paid on the basis of number of patients attended and the time spent by them. So can we call this really a fixed charge? No. Though the amount is given, but that is not a fixed cost. It is a variable cost because it is fixed on the basis of number of patients attended. So nature wise, it can be a variable cost. So 2,50,000 per month. How many doctors? All doctors put together, that is into 12. 30 lakhs rupees is the doctor's salaries, we can say. And other expenses are already given. All that we need to do is copy paste. Repairs 81,000 fixed, it is given. Put it under fixed. Food to patients is variable. Put it under variable. 8,80,000. Then other services to patient 3 lakhs is also variable. Laundry charges is also variable. Medicines is also variable. When all are given as variable, they are variable. Other fixed expenses 10,80,000, put them under fixed. And administration expenses allocated 10 lakhs also can be considered as fixed. Can be, because we don't know what they are. No problem with them being considered as fixed, because they have nothing to do directly with the actual operations. They are just allocated expenses. But they have to be included, because without them being included, who is going to give the administration expenses back? So we have to also keep them into the costing. Then only they can be recovered. The administration itself is not a profit center. Actual operations of the hospital only is the profit center. So some portion has to be definitely included. Let us keep it in fixed, because it is not based on the number of patients and all. It is just allocated expenses. Now, for the other information that is given, already it was mentioned in the beginning that it has 35 beds. And 5 beds can be added if required, not always, only if required. And for that only information given. It was estimated that 150 days in a year, 35 beds are occupied. Okay, so let us calculate number of bed days or patient days. How many days? 150 days in a year, 35 beds are occupied. Right? 150 days. That means 5,250 per year. Next, other 80 days, 25 beds are occupied. 80 days, 25 beds are occupied. And the hospital hired 750 beds at a charge of 100 rupees per bed per day to accommodate the flow of patients. So it has hired 750 beds at a charge of 100 rupees per bed per day to accommodate the flow of patients. That means 750 beds it has hired from outside. So already whatever its own beds are, for them occupancy is given in the entire year. 750 beds have been taken extra. Of course, however, this does not exceed more than 5 extra beds over and above the normal capacity of 35 beds on any day. So even if you take generally 750 beds, maximum 5 beds each day means maximum. So that is 150 times it would have happened during the year, where they needed extra beds, but not necessarily we know exactly how many times they have added, how many times they added 1 more bed extra, how many times 2 beds extra, we don't know. In total, they hired 750 beds in the entire year put together, we can say. So that is the information that is given. So naturally the total number of beds or patient beds or per patient per bed or per patient day we can call it. So that is how much? 8,000 patient days we can say. That is the first calculation we can do. And other things we have already done. We have added up the variable things and fixed things separately. So these are there. But yeah, one more point is to be noted here. The 750 beds, when they are hired at 100 rupees per bed per day. So when 750 are taken, 100 rupees is there. So that will be a variable charge because it is changing on the basis of number of days. So 750 into 100, is also a variable cost. That should be also added. Adding all of them, we'll come to know how much is the total variable cost, 56 lakhs 5,000, and adding all these things, we'll come to know how much is the fixed cost. This we can do separately, which is 48 lakhs 61,000. Correct. Now we can just take the statement simply. Sales are, you can call it revenue. For hospital, it will not be good to call it sales. Let us call it revenue. How much he said? He said 2,000 per patient day. Like that, 8,000 patient days are there. So 8,000 into 2,000 rupees per day. That means 1 crore 60 lakhs is the revenue. Then variable cost, how much? Variable cost is how much? That we know. Already we have done that. Naturally, that means contribution, how much? We need that. Contribution is 1 crore 3 lakhs 95,000. Then fixed cost, how much? That also we calculated already. Then profit, how much? Naturally, contribution minus fixed cost, 55 lakhs 34,000 is the answer for first question, which asked for profit. First question was to compute profit, which we have done. Second question is to find out break-even point for the hospital. Break-even point is what? Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. What is unit here? Patient days. So unit is 8,000 units. So contribution is 1 crore 3 lakhs 95,000 divided by this will give us contribution per unit. So what is break-even number of beds or days is, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. That means 3741 days is the break-even. If the hospital can get 3741 patient days, at least it will cover the total costs. But it has 8,000 days operations actually happened during the year, actually working during the year. So definitely that has a huge profit. So break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, and always we have to understand in service costing, unit is always, cost unit is the major thing. That is a complicated thing. It is not going to be just number of patients, it is not going to be just number of beds. It is per patient per bed, or you can call per bed per day, per patient per day, like that we can call. So that is a composite unit, which is 8,000 patient days in total. That's it. So that is about hospital costing, if you want to call it. But I don't want any names to be given to them. Any question is a question. Whatever comes in front of us, we just do that. Now software companies. Okay. Software companies, big ones. Nothing. Whatever they do, let them do. That is their job. Our job is just to use data given and just give the answer what is asked. Illustration 9. Following are the data pertaining to the Infotech Private Limited, whatever it is. Salary to the software engineers 5 persons 15 lakhs. Salary to the project leaders 2 persons 9 lakhs. Salary to the project manager, repairs and maintenance, administration overheads, all are given. The company executes a project XYZ. The details of the same are as follows. Project duration is 6 months. 1 project leader and 3 software engineers were involved for the entire duration of the project. Whereas project manager spends 2 months efforts during the execution of the project. Travel expenses incurred for the project are 187,500. 2 laptops were purchased at a cost of 50,000 each for use in the project, and life of the same is estimated to be 2 years. Prepare a project cost sheet. Actually, this is job costing question. You don't want to call it job. Job is like a scooter mechanic, car mechanic type of thing. Okay, we want sophisticated names. So what we call it? Project cost sheet. Good. Concept is same. Doesn't make any difference. So this is the cost of various things that is given. And what is asked is just the project cost sheet. For that, anyway, this project duration is given as 6 months. 1 project leader and 3 software engineers were involved for the entire duration of the project. Whereas the project manager spends 2 months efforts during the execution of the project, and travel expenses incurred are given. Now, there are other things here. See, software engineers salary is given there. For 5 persons, this much means monthly how much it will be, we can calculate. Same way for project leaders also, same way for project managers also. But repairs and maintenance administration overheads are not general things. They are not going to be just simple things. They have to be separately calculated as overhead absorption rate. Okay. So let us say, in case here we have three things which are almost like wages, almost, and almost two things are like overheads, repairs and maintenance, and administration overheads. Let us take the salaries given to different people. Software engineer, copy paste, project leader, then project manager, that is given per annum for different number of people. Project manager is 6 lakhs, project leaders, two people are there, 9 lakhs, and software engineers 15 lakhs. That is for different number of people. Then what about each person, just for understanding? So each person 3 lakhs per annum. Here each person 4,50,000 per annum. For here one guy is only there, project manager, so 6 lakhs. Then how much can be per month per person? This is per annum. Per month per person will be this much. So we can take this per month per person also, just to calculate, and because we are going to use it in the job, because job was for 6 months and each of them have worked different periods for that job. So this is one thing that from the data given we can just compile it. Now coming to the overheads which are there in the question, two overheads are there. Repairs and maintenance is 3 lakhs, administration overheads is 12 lakhs. Total 15 lakhs overheads is there. But what was the total of the entire salary here? What was the total of the entire salary of all the people here? 30 lakhs. So can we say that overhead recovery rate could be 50% of the wages, 50% of the wages only, because these are people, labor only actually, names may be big names, but overhead recovery can happen on the basis of percentage of wages. That is the only thing that is available in front of us. So can we say that 50% is the recovery rate for overheads? Yes, we can say that. Now we have all the data related to the general company related data. Let us take the project cost sheet. Project cost sheet one by one, let us take. What is given here? This is like a job costing. 6 months duration, one project leader and 3 software engineers were involved for the entire duration of the project. One project leader, okay, project leader 1. Then software engineers 3. 3 software engineers are involved, right? So what will be their salary? One project leader, monthly salary project leader 37,500, like that 6 months, right? Same way, 3 software engineers, each of them salary per month is 25,000, like that 6 months. So that is the salary of them. 2 people, 2 types of people, one project leader and 3 software engineers for the entire duration of project, which is 6 months. So 2,25,000 and 4,50,000 are the salaries to those people. Then project manager spends only 2 months. Project manager spends only, actually one guy, he spends only 2 months. So, but how much is his salary? Project manager 50,000 per month. So that's it. These are all the total of wages related to this particular project, which we can say 7,75,000. Then overheads can be recovered as 50% of wages, as we already know the overhead rate. So what is it? That one can be added. In addition to that, there are travel expenses which are exclusively for this project. Then naturally they will be added to the project only. 1,87,500. So now, what is the total cost of the project? 13,50,000. And depreciation for the 2 laptops also has to be added. Depreciation. 2 laptops, 50,000 each, which can be working for 2 years. But we have only here 2 laptops, 50,000 into 6 months only. So 6 by 24, we can say 2 years means 24 months. So what is the depreciation that can also be added? That is 25,000. Now let us take the total cost of project. 75,000 is the final answer. That's all. That's what is project cost sheet. Nothing different from job costing. Only thing is the industry is different. Here we are talking about big things like software and all that. Only names. Concept is always same. Now, moving on to the toll type of situation. here different types of names can be there: build, operate, transfer, etc. That depends upon how the model works between the government and whoever is that operator. The question is illustration number 10. BHG Toll Plaza Limited built a 60-kilometer long highway and now operates a toll plaza to collect tolls from passing vehicles using the same. The company has invested 600 crores to build the road and estimated that a total of 60 crores vehicle will be using the highway during the 10 years toll collection tenure. Toll operating and maintenance cost for the month of April, data given is for month of April is given. Salary to collection personnel is given, salary to supervisor is given, security personnel salary is given, toll booth manager, all that we need to do is multiply them. Electricity, telephone, maintenance costs are given. Company needs 25% profit over the total cost to cover interest and other costs. Calculate cost per kilometer and calculate the toll rate per vehicle. Assume there is only one type of vehicle. But actually again in reality there will be multiple types of vehicles. Then practical scenario will be like that: how much should be the toll fare for cars, how much should be the toll fare for trucks, and how much should be for buses. How they do it? They will do it according to, once again, weighted cost unit. If they decide that truck toll rate should be double than the car, that means one truck will be equivalent to two cars, like that. Equivalent cost unit they will calculate. Of course here it is not required since it is not asked. Only one type of vehicle is to be assumed according to the question. So what is there in this? Actually nothing much, just multiplication total and divided by the actual number of vehicles that they pass. Let us take this way. Calculate the cost per kilometer, he has said. First thing first, apportionment of capital cost. 600 crores is the investment divided by 10 years, because that is the overall period during which we can collect the tolls. But we are calculating only for 1 month. That is why divided by 12. That comes to 5 crores. Then operating cost, salary to the collection people, all multiplication. 3 shifts, 4 persons per shift, like that 30 days, because we are looking at April, 150 per day. What is there in this? Multiply, all these things. Salary to supervisor also, salary to security personnel also, toll booth also. Just multiplying whatever the data that is given. And then he has given the electricity charges 80,000, telephone charges 40,000. And maintenance cost is 30 lakhs, add that also. All these things if we add, total cost is 5 crores 32 lakhs 40,000. But that is a cost. Cost only. Question number 1 is cost. Per kilometer how much he is asking. So what is the total distance of this road what they have built? 60 kilometers. So per kilometer how much is the monthly cost? We can say is 8,87,333 per kilometer, that is. That's what he has asked. Total of the cost divided by number of kilometers, 8,87,333. Now, what is the toll rate per vehicle, assuming that only one type of vehicle is there? Total cost we know already, that is 5 crores 32 lakhs 40,000 in a month, plus 25% profit. What was given in the question? 25% profit over the total cost, 25% on cost only. So 25% of 5 crores 32 lakh 40,000 will be how much? That is 1 crore 33 lakhs 10,000 divided by vehicles per month. That has to be taken, calculated, because it is given there. So how many vehicles are expected to be there in a month? Total 60 crore vehicles will be used during the 10 years. 60 crore. In a 10 years period, 60 crores means each year 6 crores. If each year 6 crores means each month 50 lakhs, because we are taking the costs per month. So 50 lakhs vehicles, that means toll per vehicle should be 13.31 rupees. That's all. Straightforward calculation. That is about a toll type of situation. Like this, questions can be asked from educational institutions, insurance companies, whatever it is. Once again, we don't have to worry too much about the nuances of each type of business and service. That is none of our business. We have to just focus on the question. Questions can come from any type of business. Illustration 11, for example, is a bank business. The loan department of a bank performs several functions in addition to home loan application processing task. It is estimated that 25% of the overhead costs of loan department are applicable to the processing of home loan application. Okay. So the following information is given concerning the processing of a loan application. So direct professional labor, loan processors monthly salary 2,40,000. 4 employees are there. 4 employees, monthly 60,000 each means 2,40,000. Then overhead costs are given monthly. So many things monthly, these are all fixed: telephone expenses, depreciation, legal advice, advertising, etc., etc. Total also is already given 1,81,000. You are required to compute the cost of processing home loan application on the assumption that 500 home loan applications are processed each month. Once again, just totaling only. What is their copy paste total? And what is given here, the loan department of a bank performs several functions in addition to the home loan application processing, and 25% of the overhead costs of loan department are applicable to the processing of home loan application. So those are all what are given there. So total overhead costs are also given, and loan processors direct cost of salary also is given. So when it comes to the loan processing, 2,40,000 is a direct cost, whereas in the overhead costs of 1,81,000 as given in the question, 25% will belong to loan processing department. So 25% of 1,81,000 is 45,250. Add both of them. Number of applications processed during the month is 500, and processing cost per home loan application is 570.5. That's it. This is not even an exam question, just a simple question for practice, we can say. Then illustration 12 is related to thermal power station. So what? We can do costing for any kind of business in the world. If numbers are given, data is given. From the following data pertaining to whatever year, prepare a cost statement showing the cost of electricity generated per kilowatt hour by Chambal thermal power station, whatever it may be. Total units generated is 10 lakhs kilowatt hours, and all these things are given as the total costs for operating this during the year. And 5 kilowatt hours of electricity generated per kg of coal consumed at the rate of 4.25 per kg. Depreciation charges at the rate of 5% on capital cost of 2 crores. So we want per kilowatt hour how much it is. Once again, it is a totaling and dividing question. So take all the things, copy paste first of all, which are all available. Don't worry about others. First take what is available with us. 15 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 3 lakhs, then 20 lakhs. These are all the costs that happen, which are fixed almost, we can say, kind of. Then coal is something that is depending upon the actual production. So what he said, 5 kilowatt hours of electricity is generated per kg of coal. That means for 10 lakhs kilowatt hours, for 10 lakhs kilowatt hours, how many kgs of coal is required? If 1 kg of coal produces 5 kilowatt hours of electricity, 10 lakh kilowatt hours requires 2 lakh kgs of coal, and each kg of coal is 4.25 rupees. So what is the total coal cost then? 4 lakh, 8 lakh 50,000. Simple. 4.25 into 2 lakhs. Then depreciation on 2 crores. 5% he says. Directly calculate that. 10 lakhs. Annual, right? All of them are year. Data pertaining to the year. So we have to be careful with the period always. That is where a lot of times people blindly do some totaling and get wrong answers. So what is the total cost that we got? 65 lakhs 50,000. We want per kilowatt hour. We have 10 lakh kilowatt hours. Per kilowatt hour 7 rupees approximately. Or you want decimals also 6.55 rupees. That is answer. So like this, any type of industry related questions can be asked in ABC also, service costing also. These two are again generic chapters where we should be able to solve any type of questions depending upon the data that is available to us. In the questions at the end of the chapter, practice questions. First question we have already done. I think I asked you to do. I hope you all have done already, related to some bus which is running 3 different types of routes. Then question number 2, let us do it. Very popular question. We call it service costing, we call it marginal costing, we call it decision making. Doesn't matter. Question is question. Question number 2. A company is considering 3 alternative proposals. When there are alternative proposals, automatically it can be called decision making also. For conveyance facilities for its sales personnel who has to do considerable traveling, approximately 20,000 kilometers every year. That is an approximate level of activity we can say that these sales people have to travel. Proposals are like this. Proposal 1 is purchase and maintain its own fleet of cars. Average cost of a car is 6 lakhs rupees. That is one thing. Second is allow the executive to use his own car and reimburse the expenses at the rate of 10 rupees per kilometer and also bear insurance cost. Third, hire the cars from an agency at the rate of 1,80,000 rupees per year per car. The company will have to bear cost of petrol, taxes and tires. And the following further details are available. Petrol is 6 rupees per kilometer and tires is 0.12 per kilometer. Taxes are 800 per car per annum. Repairs and maintenance 0.2 per kilometer. Insurance is 1,200 per car per annum. Life of the car is 5 years with an annual mileage of 20,000 kilometers. Resale value 80,000 rupees at the end of the 5th year. Work out the relative costs of the 3 proposals and rank them. Which is the best proposal we have to look at. Okay. So here, approximately each year they have to travel 20,000 kilometers. So let us take proposals separately. First option, second option, third option. And let us take the costs. Of course, 20,000 kilometers is common. First proposal is what? Purchase and maintain its own fleet of cars. Average cost of a car is 6 lakhs. Okay. That will definitely have depreciation because it is own car. 6 lakhs rupees is the cost and 80,000 is the resale value at the end of 5th year. So annually how much will that be? 6 lakhs minus 80,000 divided by 5. Because life of the car is supposed to be 5 years. At the end of 5th year, that can be sold at 80,000 rupees. So that is the depreciation, which will be there in only first scenario. Why? Because in the second and third scenario, we don't own the car. So no depreciation, no depreciation. That is the first thing, depreciation. Second, allow the executive to use his own car and reimburse expenses at the rate of 10 per kilometer and also bear insurance cost. Okay, directly allowance we can say. Straight away. Allowance. That will not be there in the first scenario and third scenario. It will be there only in the second scenario. 10 rupees per kilometer. How many kilometers they will travel on an average? 20,000 kilometers per annum. 10 rupees per kilometer means 2 lakhs is the cost. And also insurance cost. How much is insurance cost? Insurance cost is given as what? 1,200 per car per annum. Insurance cost will be there in the first case also because when it is our own car, we have to take insurance per car. So 1,200 will be there. Even in first option also, second option also. Third option, no need. Why? Because third option says hire the cars at 1,80,000 rupees per year per car. The company will have to bear the cost of petrol, taxes and tires, but not insurance. That means insurance is not going to be borne by us. It will be the headache of whoever has given the car on rent to us. So that is about second option's costs. And third option, major cost is hire charges. Hire charges will not be there here and will not be there here. They will be in the third option. 1,80,000 rupees is the hire charges per car. Okay. 1,80,000. But we still have to bear the cost of petrol, taxes and tires. Then, look at the other costs. Petrol. Petrol. It will not be there in the case of asking the executive to use his own car. We are not going to bear the petrol cost there because we are bearing only insurance cost. Executive will use according to his requirements. We will only reimburse his expenses at the rate of 10 per kilometer. So, Petrol cost will not be there in second option, but it will be there in first option and third option when the company owns and maintains its own car, or it will take car on rent from a rental agency. So what is the petrol? 6 rupees per kilometer, he said. How many kilometers like that will be traveled in a year? 20,000 kilometers. So 20,000 kilometers into 6 rupees per kilometer. Right? As given in the question. Next, tires. Once again, if it is one car, it will be there 20,000 kilometers, 0.12 per kilometer, 0.12 per kilometer. But it will be there even in third option. Petrol also will be there in third option, not in second option. Then taxes. Whatever they may be, 800 rupees per car per annum. One car also we have to bear, and hired car also we have to bear. Hired car will bear only these things actually. What clearly given, 1,80,000 per year per car, and will bear the cost of petrol also, taxes also, tires also. So petrol, taxes, tire, these three costs we are bearing. Repairs and maintenance will bear only if the car is owned by us. Otherwise we don't. So how much is repairs and maintenance? 0.2 per kilometer. So 0.2 per kilometer. Then insurance 1,200 already we have taken, but that will not be there in third option. It will be there in only first and second options. Life of the car is 5 years with an annual mileage of 20,000 kilometers. That's what we are taking always. 20,000 kilometers is the travel distance during each year. So that's it. Now take a total of each of the options, and which is the best option? Naturally option number 2, because it has lowest cost, 2,01,200 only. That means better to ask the executives to use their own car. Thank you very much, but we will only pay you 10 rupees per kilometer. That is the best option if the number of kilometers traveled is 20,000. Not necessarily always it would be. So the total cost you have to calculate: 2,32,400 in the first case, 2,01,200 in the second case, 3,03,200. So which is the best option? Is this one. Rank, he said. So this is definitely the best option. Second best, third best options. That's all. That is the question also, which can be expected very much like a decision making question. In fact, the third question given at the end of the chapter is a repetition of that Chambal question only. So there is nothing new or special there. That's it. With that, we can conclude the topic of service costing, and we'll move on to another topic in the next session. But once again, let me repeat and reiterate, more the questions we do now as practice questions in all types of possible industries, whether it is transport or other types of industries. Any question we should be ready to face. That is the most important point. Otherwise, what happens? We will be only able to solve the questions which we know. That is not our level, which is supposed to be. Our level should be much beyond that. Our level and objective is to face any question that comes in exam, not the questions only which we know. We should not know any questions actually. We should know only concepts. Question should be only encountered as it comes to us. Data is given in the question, and we have brain to analyze the data, assimilate the data, put the data in some format, and good presentation to be given as a final answer. All these things have to be done by us. That can definitely happen with more number of questions being solved from different sectors, and practicing the same questions also once again. So practice first of all the questions in ICA material, because in general these are the questions that will come in exam. So first practice them, then move on to the additional questions which will be anyway given to you as tasks. Fine. That concludes service costing, and we'll discuss another topic in next session. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you very much.